Vegas may look like a police state for the next several weeks, months, heck, maybe even longer, as Iran has threatened now every single tourist hotspot on the planet with retaliation. I'm going to prove why this could very well happen with evidence. And a fair warning, pay close attention to this entire video because you need to understand what's happening in our economy right now if you participate, because we just had a major indicator trigger that nobody's talking about that happens before every major financial reset and recession throughout history. Big news that broke today was Iran threatening now, directly from the regime, world tourism sites. Iran threatened to target recreational and tourist sites worldwide. Iran's top military spokesperson warned Friday that parks, recreational sites, and tourist destinations worldwide won't be safe for enemies of the regime in Tehran. You're saying, yeah, that's garbage. They can't get over here. We're thousands of miles away across oceans. But my friends, there has to be a reason why this exists. This was on the first day of the conflict, February 28th. Nevada locations could see more police after Iran attacks, governor says. This is Governor Joe Lombardo, state of Nevada. The New York Times reported a few weeks ago, at war with Iran, U.S. sees more V at home. Several incidents, including synagogues in Michigan, blanks in Virginia, thwarted attacks in New York, may be linked to fighting in the Middle East. These are what they call sleeper cells. It's horrible what happened in Austin, Texas. This guy's shirt says it all. Is Vegas safe? No place is 100% safe. And they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but that's a lie. Now here, watch me tell you why. This whole conflict is spreading out absolutely everywhere across the world. Now pay close attention because we are going to line up a series of events that prove that a recession is likely on its way. So first off, we're in like day 16 of a massive sell-off in the markets. This is a heat map. Anything red, kids, means that you're losing money. Actual charts look like this, but don't worry, I can actually show you guys how you can take advantage of this. You know, you can short and you can make tremendous amounts of cold, hard cash when it goes down and everything's melting down. I'll show you that in a minute. But because we have no money, weird things are happening, like restaurants filing for bankruptcy. Fat Brands, this is Fat Brands, and they have filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. You remember Fatburger, right? They had marquee locations like right on the Las Vegas Strip. And here is our chart of credit card delinquencies. We see that it's never been this high. It's ridiculous. Latest data coming in showing that we are all-time highs. Want to see something fun? Look here. See this low point right here? That's where everybody got COVID checks and then paid off their credit card bills only to run them up again. And it's mainly this. This is the price of liquid crude, and it keeps going up because there's just no end in sight to the war. Oh, and by the way, it looks like we are literally putting boots on the ground in Iran. And in less than a minute, I'm going to show you the one indicator that triggers every single time a major recession happens that impacts everybody, that nobody can hide from. It's going to prove to you that we are in worse shape than anybody might be telling you right now. But before that, let's talk about our sponsor, because all of this uncertainty, it's being solved by people who know one key piece of info you don't know. Now, come closer to me, and I'm not supposed to tell you this. My wife, my mentor, they all tell me, don't give it away for free. But I love you, and I want to show you something. In yesterday's video, I drew this yellow line. When the markets are melting down like I showed you, you make money when it goes down. Watch what happens if I click this red button when these bars go through the yellow line. Oh, well, you look at that, 145 bucks. Amazing. $640. My friends, $1,200, right? That's exactly what over 1,000 students in my own course, 1K a day, know what to look for. And it takes 10 or 15 minutes a day to learn what I'm doing and then actually implement it. Would $2,000 a day be good for you? 1,500 possibly? Click the link in the first pinned comment below. Now, you know what? You said I would never do it, but I did. I raised the price yesterday. It's only $249. It was $199 just 2 days ago. Act on it now before I raise the price again. And that's only good for the first few people that click the link. Get it for $249 before I raise the price again. Send me an email when you're one of my students, because if you don't, well, look what this indicator of the economy is telling us. Nobody else is telling you about this. You're hearing it here, though. Oh, but real quick, I need to ask you to subscribe. Because if you're 1% smarter and you subscribe, I do videos 5 days a week. I am pushing my channel in a different direction. My Vegas only people, the enlightened ones that want to know the truth, they're still here hanging out with me. And I'm picking up new people. Tell me if you're new in the comments or type old. And as always, at the end of my videos, I read the best comments. I pick 2 or 3. I'll do that again in this video. So leave me a great comment. Subscribe if you're new. Let me know. Because look at this, stock market sounds an alarm for the first time in 25 years. So let's introduce you to something called the CAPE ratio and why it matters. The CAPE ratio differs from standard metrics, blah, 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 blah. I just can't even. I have the attention span of a gnat, not that kind of gnat. No, a gnat, a little fly. And so to explain this better, I asked the AI to break it down. I have a habit of making things complicated. It's basically a price tag check on the entire stock market. And it asks, are stocks too expensive or too cheap right now? So we divide it by 10 years and we get a high number and a low number. The numbers matter a lot. Okay, if the numbers all average out to 17, everything's fair and dandy. If it's above 30, we're in a danger zone. And if it's above 38, and it's only happened 2 times in the history of any time, things come crashing down. How does it look? So it looks something like this. We had our first ever peak in 1929, and then we had the Great Depression. And then we had our dot-com peak at 44 in a massive crash. Point is, it's only ever been this high twice before, and each time it did, we had a complete and utter meltdown of everything. All right, I showed you this yesterday. What you need to know is that this blue line is called the 200 moving average, and you generally don't ever want these bars to go underneath it, but if we zoom in, we see this is exactly what's happened. It started flirting with it yesterday, and now it's off to the races. It's not good. Now, this has only done this a few times where the market starts to spiral and sell off, and then your 401ks are at risk. This was 2022 back here. This was 2025 when Trump got into office and started talking about tariffs. And of course, everybody remembers 2020. This was the COVID giant 15 days, which turned into a massive lie because we were locked in our houses a lot longer. Oh, don't tell anybody I'm giving out more secrets from 1K a day. Look, every time it hits the blue line on a 2-minute chart, it turns back around. I'm not giving you financial advice, but if you're one of my students, you know that it's going to be going down now. So that should be like a sobering set of circumstances for you, right? What is Vegas doing? It's pivoting to the upside of things. That's what most tourist destinations have to do. Because the fact is, the wealthy always have money to spend in the economy. Right now, our economy is being propped up by the top 10% of the earners. Vegas, different locations around the world, New York City, Mexico. They're just going to cater to the upper end of the economic spectrum, no matter what happens, which is why you guys have to take some kind of action to protect yourself with all this stuff, because I don't want you guys to be Googling and trying to figure out what you're going to do with your 401k if we enter into a legitimate bear market. Because if this war keeps going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny, it could be a lean, tough year in 2026. Tell me what you think 2026 is going to be like. I'm interested to know. Leave me a comment in the comments. I'll read your best comments on my next video. Here's a great comment from yesterday's video by JC6996. You provide one of the most useful channels for people outside the US like myself to understand the reality of what's happening in the American economy in general. In The Big Short, for people who got to understand what was happening early enough to act successfully, they were the ones who went out to see what was happening on the ground in the malls, the streets, and suburbs of the US instead of relying solely on official stats and market opinion. I only like to operate on technical analysis, JC. It's like in the course for my students, when I show them how to find where to put these yellow lines, that's what we work off of. We work off of technical analysis to understand when price might turn around and pivot so you can short that, make potentially absurd amounts of money, or you can go long on it and you just got to know what to do. We have John Doe here with a Vegas comment. Vegas is not for the rich, but rather for the fiscally ignorant. An expensive little vacation in the desert, rigged gambling, and bums everywhere. Ooh. Limited entertainment and inferior, overpriced food. I could vacation in Detroit for better deals and similar atmosphere. Also not as hot. Plenty of bums there too. Not going back anytime soon. I disagree. Well, the food is great in Vegas. We have some of the best chefs in the world in this town. The days of the 99-cent shrimp cocktail ruling the roost are gone. That's a problem. We should have the variety. But friend and I went to Yellowtail at Bellagio. It was one of the best meals I've ever had in my entire life. We had a Japanese A5 Wagyu. It blew my ever-loving mind. It was great. And I wouldn't say that we don't have good entertainment either. As for going to Detroit for better deals, I most certainly agree. You can probably find better deals in Detroit and a similar atmosphere. I'm not sure anything can match the Strip. People from Detroit, Michigan are generally very nice, hardworking, down-to-earth, salt-of-the-earth people. No hate on Detroit, I'm just pointing out it doesn't really compare to Vegas. And to all of my Canadians out there, fellow Canadians, C-Stew says, as a fellow Canadian, you sound like Pierre Poulivier. I can't say his name. He's got a French name, but he's about as English speaking as you can get. He speaks French too.
One of the great economists and philosophers of all time.
I don't know about that, but Pierre is from Calgary. I am from Calgary. If you guys don't know, I have officially quit politics on this channel. Like, I don't want to talk about them. I have presented just hardcore facts to you in the last several videos. And I understand everybody's a little bit different, and it doesn't matter what kind of interaction I get in. If you want to go toe-to-toe with me, go to my X account. There's a link below my coupon for the course. I'm just not doing it here anymore. On a different fashion, if you're one of my Vegas regulars who actually watched to the end, congratulations. You are a special one today. I'll be streaming actually 2 nights a week, at least 1 night a week, starting tonight. Unless you're watching this tomorrow, in which case it'll also be tomorrow, unless you're watching it on Sunday, and it won't be on Sunday. But come back, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for all notifications. You'll see when I stream. The streams will be strictly talking about prices, analyzing the city, and talking about the economy as a whole. So you have been warned. If you are here to gamble on slots, I'm just not that guy. And with that, I will tell you that thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're 1% smarter. There's videos next to my head that you should definitely look into. It helps the algorithm if you watch more of my stuff. Post videos Monday through Friday. I'll do it in my voice, my radio voice. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Until we meet the next time, just keep swimming.